This is Local Edition. I'm Brad Pomerance in Los Angeles today, but we're joined by the Public Safety Manager from the city of Malibu. Her name is Susan Duenas. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
So my father was a pharmacist, still with us. He's retired, and he owned a pharmacy in Malibu for decades.
Wow.
And I remember in the 90s, there was a very significant fire in Malibu. The pharmacy had been in Cross Creek, and the fire was getting close to Cross Creek. And the only way we knew that the store was still there is we called and the answering machine answered. So we knew if it hadn't answered, the store burnt down.
I'm dating. We can't do that anymore,
can't do that. But it does beg the question about Malibu and fires, because I can think of countless fires that have struck Malibu, and now that's what it's a new job for you. You're looking at fire safety.
Yes, absolutely. And this year is particularly of concern. You know, we had this great rain, which we needed desperately. But the other flip side of that is now we have all this new growth.
Right.
And I was just in a helicopter 2 days ago.
Tell us about that.
Yeah, we're doing an aerial assessment to kind of check out how things looked, and beautiful but scary is all I can say.
Explain that. What did you see as an expert as you look down that caused you to be spooked? Because look, we know over the last couple of years we've had some terrible fires. The Rocky Fire in Northern California, the Valley Fire in Lake County, Butte. Last year, the old fire in Calabasas. I mean, right there, right near Malibu. San Bernardino, San Diego, Kern, Los Padres. I mean, we've had a lot of bad fires recently.
Right, yeah. So it's just the density of the brush that's grown. You know, there's just so much of it. And especially you see it a lot around homes. Even though we try to tell people to clear brush and trim trees, it's kind of a double-edged sword. That's what makes your property beautiful, but it also makes it very dangerous. And looking down from the air, you could see, especially in the areas where it's really dense and the evacuation routes are minimal, that it could be a really bad situation.
When you say dense, are you saying dense green growth?
Yeah.
But is the fear that, look, it's getting hot, so that green becomes brown?
Yes. The thinner, lighter stuff is already brown. We see it, right? If you've looked around the hills. And so it's just going to get browner and browner.
Of course. So what should we be doing in Malibu, or frankly anywhere, to keep ourselves safe? I mean, you've talked about how beautiful it can be, and we've talked about clearing, but give us a few tips before we talk about some other topics.
I mean, number one is just, if you live right up against the hillside, is making sure you do proper brush clearance. That's probably the number one way to protect your home. Beyond that, if you don't actually bump up against the brush and all that, then you need to be prepared to evacuate, because that's another big issue. Sometimes people, they'll wait and wait and wait, and then they wait too long, and people have actually died because they waited too long. Or it just makes it very hard to fight the fire, because now the firemen have to shift gears, and instead of putting their resources towards fighting the fire, now they have to shift it to make sure you're safe while you're evacuating, keeping the fire away from people evacuating, where then it could start running rampant in another direction. So we really need people to evacuate early, if it's, no matter what, because remember, the wind can shift. It can suddenly, it'll be going this way and then suddenly going that way. And I would just say, if you're anywhere near the fire, just go somewhere, go out of town, you know, take your bag, take your
photographs, your computer.
Exactly, your documents, your insurance papers, you know, anything and everything that's important to you. Maybe take your dog, take your cat, bring a crate, be ready, you know, with all that kind of stuff.
And part of the reason why evacuation is so challenging in Malibu is all we have is PCH, Pacific Coast Highway. And
all the more reason to go early.
Right, but that begs the next question.
Yes.
So your job actually has expanded its focus. You're not just looking at emergency preparedness, but general public safety. And look, I mean, I've been on that PCH, and in addition to it can get very jammed. I mean, there are accidents there. People start picking up speed. And countless lives.
Oh yeah,
lost.
I mean, we average like 1.5 accidents a day on average. Last month, I think there was 54 accidents. About 18 of them involved injuries. One person died. So, and it seems like most of them are from people either going too fast or doing U-turns where you're not supposed to.
I mean, because you want to find the parking spot.
Right. I mean, a lot of it is that, and then pedestrians are sometimes the victims, because you're parking on one side and running across because you don't want to go down to the corner.
I've done that. I've done that. I admit it.
But the thing is, people forget that these cars are doing 50, 60 miles an hour, and you can really misjudge. And what if you trip and fall? You know.
Right. So what are you doing to try, you and your team, I should say, to try to make PCH a more friendly place to drive? I mean, look, people are going there to go to the beach, maybe a little drinking. running across the street looking for parking spots? Is it awareness? Is it education?
It's kind of a little bit of everything, and the city just finished doing a big PCH
Sure.
traffic study.
Okay, and
actually,
what'd you learn?
we've learned a lot of things, and they just did a presentation at City Council
Okay.
the other day, and it's a combination of things where in some areas maybe the lanes are narrow, or maybe there's just too much going on,
Right.
because we have one place where there's a signal here, and then just like 30 feet later is another
I
signal.
know. Is
and
that near
people,
Dukes?
Flores. I think
yeah.
it's
Oh, yeah.
Dukes,
Yeah, I think it's-
so
I
we
know
get
what
a
you-
lot of
right.
accidents there. Then just people parking on the side. So there's a variety of things, and there's a number of recommendations we're looking at, but there's no easy answer. I'm definitely not going to please everybody,
No, I
but we're
understand.
looking at all the different options to try to make it safer. So we're just in the beginning of those discussions right now, but at least we've had the study done so that we have some data to work with to start addressing it.
Let's talk about fun in the sun, because it is Malibu, and we love going to Malibu, but that becomes a challenge for someone like yourself who's looking at public safety. Drinking on the beach, not permitted, but done. I hate to go there, but we now have legal marijuana, and
Yep.
I got to think you're thinking about that as well. Who knows what that does to drivers? We're trying to figure that
Right.
out. And so help us through that. Sunburns, I mean, sharks, I'm not going to go there, but octopus, I can't even imagine your job.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
and it's a very big challenge. So, there's going to be more patrols on the beach
Okay.
with more lifeguards.
Because
and-
it's summer?
Yeah, because the increased
course.
traffic there. I mean,
Right.
our population, which is only like 12,000.
Right. During the day, or
You know,
during
it's
at
like
night.
1 million people,
Right, right.
on a nice sunny day. So we're using, every tool that we have to try to make things safer, which, I mean, it may sound bad, but even just doing parking enforcement, because some of the people illegally parking make it unsafe. They park in front of a hydrant. Well, now there's a
Right.
fire, and so how do you hook
Right.
up to the hydrant? Or someone
Right.
parking illegally, so it's unsafe for someone to pull out because they can't see.
Right.
All of those things. So while some people might think, oh, you're just trying to create revenues, like, no, actually there's a safety
Right. No, it
element
makes
to
sense.
it. And same with if they're patrolling the beach and they're giving you a ticket for drinking on the beach, it's because there's accidents with people who've been drinking. So-
And, I mean, let's face it, drinking in the sun, brutal. I mean, brutal. I wouldn't know, but
Right.
you know what I'm saying. I mean, it can really hit you, and you don't even realize what
Oh,
you've
yeah.
done, and then you jump in a car, and it's a double hit.
Right. You
It's a
think,
double
oh,
hit.
I'm fine, I can get home.
What about ocean safety? Is there anything that we should be aware, or is that in your purview?
It's
I mean,
not really in my purview,
Right.
but I mean, definitely just paying attention to riptides. I know
Right.
that just from looking at the statistics and stuff, it's surprising how many people get caught in riptides on a daily basis, even though
Right.
there'll be signs posted and the lifeguards are telling people. People don't realize how powerful a riptide can be,
Right.
and even the fittest person could get caught in a riptide
Right.
and carried out to sea and drown. I mean, there was one not even that long ago that happened.
Really, and the bay's clean, by the way. I mean,
Say it again?
the bay is clean. We're not having any kind of blooms of algae or anything.
Now that I don't have any, I'll have to find out
Right.
on that. I
Because,
don't know.
I mean, these are issues that
Yeah.
continually are presenting to us. I just want to thank you so much for joining us. It's got to be an exciting time to be in the city of Malibu, which continues to be bustling and just keeps growing. But we're going to stay safe, I promise.
Yes.
Okay, her name is Susan Duenas. She is the new public safety manager in the beautiful city of Malibu, California. We're in Los Angeles today. My name is Pomerance. I'm so glad you're joining us on Local Edition.